and welcome to a very special community event, We Are Chaffee, Stories of Impact. My name is Nick Ryder, and I am honored to be hosting tonight's event. I'm a current member of the We Are Chaffee Steering Committee, who, along with Paul Alexander, Amy Dennis, Mike Arill, Heather Gorby, and Lisa Martin, provide direction to enhance the mission of We Are Chaffee. As Diego said, we are excited to be providing tonight's event in 2 languages, English and Spanish. I would like to thank Diego Pons and the San Luis Valley Language Justice Cooperative for his partnership in bringing this event to you in Spanish tonight. If you would like the Spanish translation, again, just to confirm, please click the global icon at the bottom of your screen and select the language that you would like to hear the presentation in. It's our first attempt at this, so please let us know how we can improve in the future if there's anything that goes wrong. We Are Chaffee is designed to be a safe place for nonprofits, community institutions, and others to share and engage in each other's stories. The hope is that through listening, sharing, engaging in our local stories, our community will become more aware and accepting, and ultimately more compassionate and resilient. The We Are Chaffee initiative grew out of the Chaffee County Public Health and Office of Housing grant-funded housing and health program, along with the Chaffee County Community Foundation and others who were inspired to create We Are Chaffee as a catalyst for community dialogue and learning. We need to extend a special thank you tonight to Andrea Karlstrom, Director of Chaffee County Public Health, and Becky Gray, Director of Chaffee County Housing Authority, who through their creative and bold ideas brought this initiative to light. Working together, they identified systems and policies within Chaffee County that were causing inequitable health and housing outcomes. There's Health Disparities Program grant, the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment's Office of Health Equity. This organization is bringing more opportunity, equity, and knowledge to Chaffee County. Out of this grant, We Are Chaffee was born in January of 2021. If you would like more information about this grant initiative, please visit healthhousingchaffee.org. We Are Chaffee has grown significantly since last January when we started. We've engaged with local partners who are working to provide their expertise and energy to improve the lives of all in our county. A few of these organizations have representatives here tonight to share personal stories that highlight the importance of our amazing organizations. We call these stories the stories of impact. We would like to recognize the following community organizations who have helped inspire tonight's storytellers: Ark Valley Recovery, Chaffee County Family and Youth Initiatives, Upper Arkansas Conservation District, Achieve, serving people with disabilities, Full Circle Restorative Justice, Ark Valley Humane Society, Chaffee County 4-H, Greater Arkansas River Nature Association, or how most of us refer to it as GARNA. Their story tonight will actually be told in Spanish with English subtitles. For these stories and more, please visit our website at wearechaffee.org. There you will find more about our local partners, engage in local stories of housing insecurity, resilience, and more. We hope that you enjoy and learn from it. And now I will turn it over to We Are Chaffee's Community Advocacy Manager, Lisa Martin, for an overview on what to expect this evening. Hi, Lisa, we can see you.
Hi, that's good. Thank you, Nick, for that great introduction. We appreciate all that you do for this county and for We Are Chaffee. I'm here to provide our audience with an overview of what to expect this evening and to support the technical parts of the event. This Zoom platform has certainly kept us connected during the pandemic, and I continue to learn more about all of the features. Tonight, you as the audience are muted, which simply means that if you talk, we won't hear you. This helps us manage the sound of the presentation and should give you a more pleasant experience. If you have questions now or during the presentation, you can ask them by clicking Q&A on the bottom of your screen. Type in your message and hit enter, and the questions will go to Nick. We encourage your participation. After we finish watching these fantastic stories tonight, Nick will ask the questions on your behalf. So jump in and ask away. Another Zoom feature that we will be using tonight is real-time polling. I am launching a poll right now, and you should see that poll on your screen right now. So please answer the questions. Questions 1 through 3 are in English and 4 through 6 are in Spanish. And you may need to scroll down to see the questions. Please answer the questions in the language of your heart. Your answers are anonymous, but the answers will help us meet our grant reporting requirements. While you're answering the questions, I'll let you know that the survey results from this entire series is being compiled into a report that will be distributed among every jurisdiction in Chaffee County. We are seeing an increase in our community's level of understanding the complex systemic issues that impact housing affordability, which is directly influencing the health of our many community members. In addition, working with our partner organizations, we are seeing a positive change in the level of our community's engagement, including discussions surrounding economic, social, racial, and other equity issues that exist in Chaffee County. Our hope is through storytelling and community conversations, we will continue to see an increase in personal connections and community resilience. All right, it looks like everybody has done the poll. I'm going to end the poll and hand it back over to Nick.
Thanks, Lisa, so much. And now for the main event. The guests that are sharing their stories with us tonight volunteered for a local workshop to help them in their storytelling abilities. We partnered with an organization called the Story Center, who taught the participants how to create their own personal story and how to produce and edit their videos. We've combined all the videos into one larger video and will introduce the storytellers after the videos and answer any questions from our audience. Without further ado, I am pleased to play the following: Chaffee County Stories of Impact.
FYI, there's no interpretation yet.
Okay, Diego, then I think what we should do for everyone who's trying to view it in Spanish is we'll take the recording of this and we will translate it into Spanish for everyone and put it on our wearechaffee.org website after the event. Lisa, whenever you're ready. It wouldn't be a Zoom event if we didn't have a little technical difficulties. Just bear with us while we get the video up and running. Thank you all again for joining us.
My throat aches. I refuse to cry. My husband stares straight ahead, muttering about dust. I suspect he's fighting tears. There's a wistful whinny from the trailer, a call to a herd mate left behind. The trailer behind us carries not only our horses, but boxes filled with the remnants of a dream. The truck lurches on the rutted dirt road. I catch my breath, thinking of the box that holds my grandmother's dishes. The blue ones, the ones she only used on holidays. Will they survive the move? This place hasn't been in my family for generations, but we poured our hearts into it. We shared it with people from all over the world. People who came to experience the American West, to lose themselves in the vast sky, to be carried away on the back of a horse and their own imagination. We've celebrated graduations, been part of family reunions, laughed and cried with people who came as strangers and left as friends. We nurtured this land, squinted up at the sky and prayed for rain as the wind kicked up dust. We doctored sick animals and nursed our own sore muscles after long days in the saddle. Now here we are, driving away with a box of memories. We're not the first, and we won't be the last. Farmers and ranchers in our community struggle to hold on in the face of population growth, development, and climate change. I listen. I see the worry in their eyes. It's not much, but you're welcome to it. A friend offers a small apartment on her ranch, a place for us to land. No gesture is a small thing when you are suddenly without a home that was woven inextricably with identity. It turns out we are not identified by the land so much as we are shaped by it. It's driven into our pores by the wind, baked in by the sun, and ground in by hard work. I'm at a nearby ranch. I watch as car after car winds its way down the driveway. Neighbors, some I know, many I don't, climb out, shovels and rakes in hand. We set to work, and in a short time the irrigation ditches are clean, ready for the water that brings life to the land. My throat aches again, this time with gratitude, for the kindness of neighbors, for friends who take us in, and for the connection of this community.
From the age of 7, I learned the only person I could depend on was myself. I felt overwhelmed. I was experiencing emotional and physical abuse from my family who was supposed to love and care for me. This sent me on a path of self-destruction. I became a bully to ensure I would never be the victim again. I hurt others in an attempt to regain power in a world in which I felt powerless. My first victim was an innocent young girl who had no idea not being invited to her birthday party was hurtful. It was a rainy Tuesday when I decided to push her head down to the ground and smash her head into the water puddle next to the swings. By the age of 10, I was well on my way to meeting the label of delinquent. A group of girls caught me in a lie about not living in the ghetto trailer park where white trash resided. 3 of the 4 girls fell victim to my shame when threatening to expose my life. My lie. I broke their nose. I never wanted anyone to know I lived in the trailer park. I taught them a lesson in keeping their mouths shut. By the age of 12, I had the glorious label of the kid who took no shit from anyone. I took things into my own hands, serving what I thought was sweet justice in a world of injustices. I celebrated my success in having my own desk in the principal's office. I celebrated this as a success because at home, the abuse I was experiencing made me feel I had no other place to feel almighty and powerful. To have a desk of my own meant someone cared enough to give me a special place, even though it was based on condescension. By the age of 15, I was a full-blown gangster. I thought I would only amount to being a criminal. I remained in the bully role I so much relished in. I added stealing from friends and family to my rap sheet of sweet justice. A 20 here, a 20 there, soon turned to hundreds of dollars in stolen property to afford my habit of substance abuse. At the age of 18, things began to change for me. I started learning the foundation of respect. The band of brothers with one common goal, no one left behind. An opportunity to be part of something bigger than me. I slowly shed early messages and proved I am more than just a criminal. At the age of 25, I started to work on myself. I learned my early behaviors didn't define me, but what I chose to learn from my behaviors defined me. I was able to fully understand hurt people hurt people. For the last 5 years, I've been working with Full Circle Restorative Justice, helping other youths understand the impacts of their behavior and how to right their wrongs and recognize their own value and worth. My work in Chaffee County with Full Circle Restorative Justice has been a rewarding experience. Through it, I have learned that my behaviors are the direct result of unmet needs. It has taught me how to express my anger and self-loathing, and how I didn't feel seen, heard, or valued. I have an impact on others, much like a pebble dropped in the water.
I can't believe I just adopted a 7-year-old dog. Hope I don't regret this, but he seems so sweet and loving. Gunny is looking at me like he is thinking, oh no, what did I do now? Where is she taking me? Gunny and Dakota are going to be best buddies. I just know it. As I am driving my 13-year-old Lab Remington for his last ride to Ark Valley Humane Society to be cremated, so many memories flood my mind. My heart has a hole in it, and I am broken. I know with time the sadness will fade, but I will never forget you. The staff was wonderful and caring and allowed me all the time I needed to say my final goodbye. Driving home, I knew that I should get another playmate for my other dog, Dakota. But I knew I really didn't want to go through a puppy stage again. But why would I adopt an older dog that might have problems? All my other dogs were bought as puppies and were raised the way I thought was right. Several weeks later, there was a 7-year-old lab needing a new forever home at Ark Valley. Maybe I needed him as much as he needed me. I filled out an application and emailed it to Ark Valley. I was immediately told there was already another family waiting to meet him, and they would let me know if they didn't take him. Why wouldn't they want him? The following day I was told the family had not taken him, and was I still interested? Okay, so now I'm thinking, what's wrong with him? Why did they not want to adopt him? I made an appointment for Dakota and me to go meet Gunny. They explained that Gunny liked to hump whenever he got excited and was a runner if he found the opportunity. First, they let me in the enclosure with him, and he just wanted to play fetch. Then they put just Dakota in with him while I was out of sight. Well, right off the bat, Gunny tried to hump Dakota. After Dakota set Gunny straight, all was right with the world. It was like they had known each other forever. Okay, I can deal with those issues if that's all he did. Apparently, his first family didn't take the time to train him. A vet had already checked him out and given him all his shots and chipped him. Gunny was ready to go home with us to his new home if I felt comfortable with him. It just felt so right. It has been nothing but love, walks, and ball throwing since. Gunny has learned what to do and what not to do so quickly, and Dakota is running and playing again. It is like he knew Remington just couldn't play anymore. So much for not waiting for a while before getting a new dog, and an older dog at that. I am positive it was Remington telling me it was okay to adopt Gunny to take his place. He approved. Welcome home, Gunny.
Estaba atrapada en una de las mejores ciudades del mundo. Nacida y criada en Chicago, no lo cambiaría por nada. Era un metrópolis lleno de nada más que banquetas, edificios, gente, coches, calina, más banquetas. Todos mis recuerdos tienen un tinte grisáceo, el aire gaviotas, humo, manchado con algo industrial, el zumbido de tráfico, golpes sospechosos, trenes y ambulancias. Demasiada diversión causaba problemas. Todos teníamos una rutina. Para mi madre, que me crió sola, fue trabajar, casa, dormir, trabajar, casa, dormir. Ella está dormida, yo estoy en la escuela. Ella está trabajando, yo estoy durmiendo. Fui a la escuela y regresé, y punto. Nada de juntarme con compañeros, nada de sleepovers. El lugar más seguro era nuestra casa. Tenía comida en mi plato y techo sobre mi cabeza, un lujo para mucha gente. Pero no había excursiones o viajes, nada de parriadas y fiestas, no vacaciones. La gente que se parecía a mí no hacían actividades al aire libre. Los mexicanos no esquían, la gente morena no eran cazadores. La prueba estaba todo alrededor. Comenzó como nunca ver a nadie que se parece a mí en documentales de naturaleza o programas de televisión o revistas, tampoco en mis libros. Luego las clases fueron enseñadas por personas que estaban tan lejos de mi experiencia. Nunca pensé que estuviera celosa de no haber nacido un viejo británico rico. Duré casi 22 años en ver profesores que eran gay, inmigrantes o gente de color. Y los entendí, porque vinieron de un lugar humilde. Venían de familias trabajadores, a veces los primeros a ir a la universidad en generaciones de madrugadores. Luego se me prendió el foquito. Yo quería que las niñas morenitas que les dijeron que eran mandonas sean profesores y científicas y jefas. Yo quería que los niños que vinieron de acentos duros y inglés quebrado estén orgullosos. Yo quería que se pusieran las pilas todos los niños que estaban en la universidad para darle mejor vida a su familia. La carga que los hijos de madres solteras o familias pobres o gente de color terminen la escuela es tan pesada que olvidas que te debe de encantar lo que haces. Y a mí me encanta lo que hago. Enseño sobre la naturaleza, insectos, anfibios, reptiles, conservación y muchísimo más. Soy maestra y estudiante. Garna me puso en una posición no solo para enseñar e inspirar a otros, sino también estar aprendiendo y creciendo constantemente. Y quizás no soy una política, doctora o ingeniera como quiso mi madre, pero la niña que yo era a los 10 años estaría orgullosa de mí. Crecí a ser una mujer que yo hubiera admirado.
I was born into a ranching family, myself making it 6 generations deep. I thought my only purpose in life was opening the gate, naming each of the cows and calves, and bragging to others about how my cows were better than theirs. I grew up in 4-H, deeply rooted in the swine and beef programs. I was a 4-H officer within my club, running meetings, leading others, and helping younger members choose projects and learn how to be kind people. 4-H is so much more than just cows and plows, but as a young kid, your only focus is your projects and getting them to fair. Your main focus is to do the best that you can with what you have. I grew up thinking my passion was fighting for the cattle industry. Little did I know my passion wasn't just one-sided. So I went to college and graduated with both a bachelor's and a master's degree, and focused my degrees on beef production with the help of 4-H scholarships. I often found it odd that I was so focused on ag, but worked in residential living, putting on programs and helping residents within the hall find their place at college, which to me felt like being in 4-H all over again. I decided I was dead set on working for the cattle industry at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association after college. I interned for them and for the Colorado Independent Cattle Growers Association. I got a job working on beef verifications after college. I showed up to train in Castle Rock. I wanted to be so excited, but my heart told me don't count out 4-H. So for that summer, I went back to my hometown to intern for the 4-H program. I just had to know if I was meant to be there. As I was sitting at the computer working on emailing judges for the county fair, I heard the bell of the door jingle, and I got up from my desk as if I knew this moment was important. There was a girl around the age of 12 wearing a gray V-neck t-shirt and a pair of jeans. She had a pink headband holding her hair out of her face. I asked, "How can I help you today?" looking at the parents. They looked at me and looked at the girl. The dad nudged her with his elbow as his hands were in his pockets. She explained to me that she had a friend in 4-H that was involved in cake decorating. The girl said to me, "My friend is so kind to me when others aren't, so I want to sign up for 4-H for my birthday gift." After I helped them through the process of signing up for the next 4-H year and hooked her up with a community club, I gave her her manuals for her project and mentors to contact. Afterwards, I ran to the bathroom and cried. I am now in my second year as the 4-H agent in Chaffee County. I help youth from Chaffee County, including Leadville and Howard, find their second home. I want all children to find their place, whether that's robotics or sport fishing, or cake decorating or raising rabbits. We have an opportunity for all kids to find their community.
I grew up in a family of abuse and neglect. Mom was bipolar and my dad inherited domestic violence as a way of communication. He beat my mom on a daily basis and they abused each other verbally. My sister Nicole and I both left home in our early teens. She was soft and I was hard. After that, Nicole moved in with her husband and his family, and I moved in with the people on the streets. I did drugs and she did not. In fact, she was totally against them. Nicole was a 4.0 honor student, and I took pride in failing my classes. I had to try really hard to do that because I had above average intelligence. I was expelled from 8th grade because of alcohol possession and being intoxicated on school property. I had a hard time staying out of the judicial system. While incarcerated, I was required to do counseling. My sister didn't have to because she was never in trouble. Nicole married her high school sweetheart at 18. I moved in with my grandma at 17. I slept on her couch because there was no room for me when I found out I was pregnant. I needed to stay clean. I began using again as soon as I gave birth to my daughter at 18. Nicole took me and my daughter in and brought us from California to Colorado in 2000, where I've been living ever since. She showed me how to be self-sufficient by getting a job, an apartment, and human resources. She was pretty much my recovery coach without the label. I became pregnant with my son 3 months after I moved to Colorado. Nicole held my hand through the birth of both of my children as I was a single mother. She was beautiful, petite, smart, dedicated, and had much more tact than I ever did. She was everything I ever wanted to be and more. I think living with her husband's family is where she learned how to do and be that. I got back into drugs and alcohol and was again in the judicial system here in Colorado. Nicole took in my daughter, my son, and me in 2011. During this time, my mother had a massive heart attack at age 58 and died. Nicole never left her side at the hospital. We never really talked with our mother because she couldn't control her mental illness and said unhealthy things to my sister's kids. What I didn't know was that my sister had developed a nasty alcohol habit over the years. I think stuff was coming up for her from her childhood that she could not handle and did not deal with. I was forced to deal with my stuff because of being in the judicial system and probation and such. My sister died on June 1st, the day before my 36th birthday. She was 37. Right before she died, she got her RN degree despite her drinking. She would have helped a lot of people. I miss her laugh the most. At the end of my rope, ready to hang myself with my addiction, I thought about my kids. I thought about the pain I felt when my mom and Nicole left this earth, and I didn't want to ruin my kids' lives more than I already have. I wanted to rebuild my life. I decided to go to therapy, get another job, and slowly get my life back. This time I did it because I wanted to, not because the judicial system required it. I went to a free training class to become a recovery coach, saw an opportunity to rise in my own recovery. I now have enough credits to become a certified recovery coach, where I hope to help people like myself and Nicole. I still miss Nicole.
I watched him get off the bus and walk up the drive. Normally, he couldn't contain his exuberance for life, but not that day. I felt my heart contract and a lump form in my throat. By the time he made it through the door, he was in tears. He told me he wasn't allowed to do the science project with the rest of his class, and instead was given a coloring book and crayons. I felt like it was happening to me. I felt shame, embarrassment, and rejection, as if I had been given the coloring book myself. His teacher brushed it off, saying my son would never really understand science. I can count on one hand the number of parties he was invited to as a child. My heart broke every time he came home in tears after being bullied. He would immediately bounce back. I would not. When he started looking for a job, I had to hold back tears as he sent out application after application. But he didn't give up. I encouraged his interest in college as a way to develop social skills that can be so challenging for kids like him. But a teacher told us a goal of college was unrealistic. I floundered in fear and anger, but his tears would evaporate into perseverance. 3 years ago, my son's struggles inspired me to start a nonprofit to help people with learning disabilities. It's called Achieve, and it runs the Little Engine Eatery in our little mountain town. Kids make and serve the food and learn to handle customers and work as a team. There always seems to be setbacks, and I worry about unanticipated expenses and equipment failures. I'm buried by the filings, forms, and paperwork and wonder how I will get it all done on top of my day job. But then I show up at the trailer and I hear the confidence in Jed's voice when he tells me how they successfully handled a lunch rush. I see the pride in Trev's face when he receives his first paycheck. And I witness my son excitedly brainstorming marketing ideas. I've learned perseverance too. As for my son, he's finishing his junior year at college with a 3.6 GPA. And he got an A in his college earth science class.
I woke up to see Elvis's small frame walking away with his large boombox dangling at his side, and I laughed. It looked like it was large enough to topple him over. Elvis was a homeless man that I spoke with regularly, and a friend. Usually his boombox was on his shoulder, blasting music so loudly that I would have to shout for him to hear me. It was really strange to see it quietly hanging by his side. I was not quite awake, and I was confused as to why he was still there. I had talked to him the night before, just as I had found my parking spot for the night, and he was worried I was going to get a ticket unless I woke up to feed the parking meter every 2 hours. I slowly realized why my parking meter was still ticking and had 57 minutes left, while I had gotten almost a full night's sleep. Sometimes I slept in the parking lot of my school. I could get in early and take a shower in the locker room before my first class started. It was my 5th high school in 3 years because all the other 4 had kicked me out. I guess that some teachers and staff just thought I got there early, but most of them just didn't see me. There was more than 4,000 students the year I went to school there, so it was really easy to be invisible, which was how I really wanted it to be. Some teachers did see me. They reached out to give me advice, to save me, to fix me, and to warn me. One told me emphatically I was going to end up selling my body on the streets. Another told me I belonged on the back of a Harley. That one seriously pissed me off. There was no way I was going to be on the back of a Harley. I would only be on the front. Mr. Mullen was different. He saw past the hard armor that I used to keep people away, and he saw my vulnerability. He saw my bone-deep exhaustion. He saw my hunger. He saw past my salty words, my anger, my insolence. He reached out to offer a hand, not to fix me, but like Elvis, to let me know that he saw me.
Wow. I don't know about you all, but I believe that those stories were incredible. Thank you so much to all the storytellers for the courage to share your stories with us. And thank you to the organizations that were highlighted in those stories. We're lucky to have you as part of our community. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce the creators of those videos. Storytellers, if you would turn on your cameras so that we can see all your wonderful smiles. We'll start with Bianca Martinez with the U.S. Forest Service in Garna, Colton Jones with Full Circle Restorative Justice, Debbie Jackson with Ark Valley Humane Society, Jennifer Davis of Achieve, Mona Lisa Villalobos with Ark Valley Recovery, Morgan Young of Chaffee County 4-H, Natalie Alio with Upper Arkansas Conservation District, and Samantha Barron of Chaffee County Family and Youth Initiatives. If you all would like to come off camera, I will introduce you one at a time again. So Debbie, would you like to go first and share some words? I want to thank you for your story again. Debbie, you're on mute still. Sorry about that. Always with Zoom.
I enjoyed this so much. It was just an awesome experience.
Thank you. Colton?
This was such a pleasure. I really enjoy taking time and telling a story, and I can't thank this workshop enough for giving us the opportunity.
Awesome. Bianca?
I also want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell my story. It was oddly cathartic in a way.
Jennifer?
Yeah, again, thank you so much. It's amazing to be a part of this group. We had seen the stories before in our during our facilitation, and to watch them again, I mean, each story just brought tears to my eyes. So it was a very moving experience. So I appreciate the opportunity to be involved.
Thank you so much. Mona Lisa?
I'm really grateful to be here today and have this opportunity, and go AVR, woo!
Morgan?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciated getting to spotlight 4-H a little bit and having the opportunity to hear everyone else's stories. I really appreciated that.
Natalie?
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me on this workshop and getting the opportunity to be a part of this group. It was really wonderful to get to know others and the amazing work that they're doing in our community, as well as share a little bit about the story of AG. Thank you.
And Samantha?
Yeah, like everybody else, just huge thank you for the opportunity. It was really just incredible to feel so connected to all these other members of the community, and this is what makes our life so rich here, is all the folks that we have in our community. So deeply grateful for all of our people.
Yeah. Well, we are deeply grateful for all of you. Some of those were so touching. I was very grateful that I was off camera because I shed a few tears. So I'm happy I could wipe those away before coming back on camera and seeing all of you. So please, studio audience, or audience, I'm used to a camera in front of me, so studio is in my vocabulary. Please continue to add some Q&A in the question and answer section of the below on your Zoom. We do have some coming in so far, so we'll start with those. The first one that I saw came in said, I got choked up with gratitude as I listened to all of these stories. I admire you all so much. To any participant, where did you find the courage to tell these stories?
I'll jump in. I was actually very nervous to tell my story because it was personal. But after getting into it, I realized it wasn't just about me. I think that also being involved with the other storytellers, and also I had the opportunity to listen to the Dinner and a Movie last time that it was shown, and watching those brave people tell their stories gave me the courage to tell my story, because listening to them helped me better understand the importance of this project. And also I'm passionate about my nonprofit, and I wanted to see it succeed, and it made me more willing to put myself out there, because it was more about my nonprofit and wanting people to understand the people that we serve. And I was able to maybe sort of step aside from that because of my passion for the nonprofit that I was involved with.
Yeah, I'd be happy to add on to what Jenny said, and that is really that it's about the work that we do in the community and less about ourselves personally, and being able to tell our stories and bring the story of the various organizations that we work for to light, and the amazing people that each of these organizations are supporting. As Jenny said, it makes it more about what we do and less about us, and makes that possible to step forward.
My circumstances were a little different. I do not work nor volunteer for Ark Valley Humane Society. So I'm thinking, yeah, this will be a piece of cake. I can talk 3 minutes about Ark Valley. I donate my money. I love their dogs from afar. This will be a piece of cake. When I found out what I was going to have to do, it's like, no, this isn't going to happen. And I forced myself to step out of my box. And I have never been so grateful in my life. And I thank all of you for your stories.
I can also speak to.
Go ahead, Cole.
I think for me, the whole part of doing this was stepping out and letting the younger generation in our community know that you really aren't your behaviors and that you have an opportunity to learn from them. And if anything, you have a bright future. So it was more about giving them the space to learn from my mistakes and understand that just because you are in that space doesn't mean you have to be stuck there, that you have the opportunity and to empower yourself and make those necessary changes.
Bianca, did you want to add, or I have a specific question for you?
I can add. I know that when I was asked to do this project, I was really uncomfortable just because I've never done something quite to this capacity. But I really think Garna and the Forest Service as organizations, like even having them around when I was young would have made a huge difference. So for me to be able to work with and partner with both Garna and the Forest Service, it really is like the culmination of all of the things that I like to do in my life. In terms of like equity and stewardship and sustainability and conservation, and getting to teach that to kids that were the same age when I sort of wish I had these resources. It was really easy for me to say like why this organization means so much to me.
Yeah, and Bianca, on that, there's a question from the audience that was, well, is there a moment that you recall that inspired you to not follow the path of least resistance like you talked about, or the path that was expected of you, and pursue your own passion and interests and values? This person said that it was really interesting story that you shared, coming of age in a major urban area where environmental values are essentially non-existent, to becoming an influential member of our rural community where the environment is central to your daily life.
Yeah, so it was a couple of things for me. In my video, when I joked about not being a doctor or engineer like my mom wanted me to, it's one of those things that I feel like everyone's parent does at one point. So part of that really has to do with the fact that I had such an amazing relationship with my mom growing up, and she never set expectations or a path for me. She was a really big proponent of, you're going to be doing what you're like, when you choose your major, if you go to college, when you go to college, you're going to be doing that for the rest of your life. So you owe it to yourself to do something, to fall in love with what you do every single day. So that was a part of it. And then I think another aspect is I always credit a teacher that I had in high school. His name was Mr. Balaban. And he was the biology teacher. And he was really one of the first teachers to sort of like pay attention to me and pull at these interests that I had. Up until everyone always asks me, like, when did you get so outdoorsy? And the question is after high school, when I had the chance to force myself to do that. And he would take kids out to go, pull buckthorn at Harm's Woods, and something as simple as that. Like, I really credit him with being my aha moment, and I wanted to be other kids' aha moments. I don't know if I've done that, but I feel like with enough years of putting in the work, I'll have inspired at least one kid to follow the path of least resistance and sort of do what they love.
100%. And I believe that you'll leave the world a better place than you found it. So thanks for being an inspiration. There's another question. There's a comment before it. So, wow, absolutely wow. The ability to not only put your heart into something, but then turn around and share with the world. How would you describe your view of this experience in storytelling? And do you plan to continue this newfound skill? And anybody can hop in and answer on that one.
I can go. So I absolutely loved this experience. I think that it was definitely a soul searching experience for me, to really dig out why I chose the job that I did, and really find that point of where did I find this passion for what I do. And I will tell you that it was right there in that room, when that little girl said that she wanted to join 4-H for her birthday because she wanted more friends like her one at school. And so it was a soul searching opportunity for me. But I'll absolutely use this skill more, in telling the story of 4-H, and also helping the community as I move on within my career.
Morgan, well, I will say I'm going to share your story with my niece who's starting 4-H, hopefully this year. So really inspirational there too. Anyone else want to jump in on that? All right, we have a question for Jenny in particular. Jenny, where is the Engine Eatery located?
This year we're going to be located at the Buena Vista Heritage Museum, so in BV, right between the museum and the elementary school, and we'll be there Thursdays through Mondays at this point. So,
amazing.
So come say hi.
Yeah, we definitely will have to. We have another question around what was the most impactful, obviously pun not intended, part of this process for all of you?
I could sort of speak to that. So I know everybody who was we did like a screening with just the panelists, and I didn't feel emotional making my video. I didn't feel emotional watching my actually like putting it all together. But when I watched my video in its completion for the first time, like when all the bells and whistles were polished, I cried. And I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that this video made me realize that not only am I proud of myself, I say in the video I grew up to be the kind of person I would have thought I would have looked up to, but it also made me realize that like my family's pretty proud of the work that I've done. And I guess I've never taken a minute to reflect on it until I made this video.
I'll jump into that. I just learned the importance of sharing and trying to relate to each other. Me personally, I get so busy with the various things I'm involved in my life that I fail to take time to build the connections that are so important to building community. And so this project allowed me this space to do that, and having a deadline of getting a project done, forced me to do that. But I'm so grateful for that, because it is incredibly important to really take that time to connect with each other and learn about each other and listen to each other.
I would also agree with that statement. I found some amazing people to contact and to partner with here in the future. And I fully intend on partnering with multiple people that have shared their story today, because I really think that really goes hand in hand with our organization, from a youth development standpoint, and giving them the opportunity to work with these amazing individuals on this call.
I think for me, was the most impactful was sharing the story with my daughter. I have never, I think my kiddos have known, little bits and pieces of some of my background, but watching it with my daughter the first time was very emotional. It's making me tear up now. For me anyway, I worked so hard on, having this kind of being a really good mom, or being really good as a leader of FYI, and to show this kind of piece that's kind of ugly, and kind of this past was really vulnerable. And by sharing that with my daughter, that allowed us to connect.
Beautiful. Does anybody want to share how you wrote the story? Someone had a comment on how beautifully the stories were written. So did you have any help from the Story Center on that?
Absolutely. I had a lot of help. I was not sure where to start, and I just started writing, and I'm pretty sure that I wrote a good 5-page paper that they then read through and worked through with me until we really figured out what that looked like for me and for our organization. I think that I talked more about the organization than I did me, and they were like, "Wait a minute." That's not your story. And so it was a team effort for sure, and very helpful for me to find my voice and not just talk about the organization like I'm used to doing. So very helpful.
I know for me, my story started out as Gunny talking about how he couldn't understand why his family left him, where they left him, and what had he done. And everybody liked that part of my story. But the second part of my story was I just started talking about what Ark Valley Humane Society does. And everybody said, no, you need to start over. That's not going to work. So I had to start over. And it's a totally different story than what I started out with.
Well, Debbie, I do have to say,
process.
Go ahead, Colton, sorry.
My process was similar to Debbie's. Like, the story that I presented was completely different than the story I had started off with. And a lot of that was the great people that helped facilitate and teach works with us was like, you're really disconnected from that story. How can we reconnect you? And I'm like, about the only way to do that is totally change the story.
Yeah, it was a journey. Natalie, did you have something you wanted to add? I saw you're off mute.
Similar to what other participants have said, it really was a journey. I had a similar experience, sort of that talking about the organization and what we do and how excited we are, and then being facilitated through the process of really telling that personal story and the impact that comes with telling a personal story. And then the impact of building relationships with the others in the workshop, of listening to those personal stories, and just how important that is to bringing a community together through story. So yeah, I think I started with over 1,000 words as well, and then had to get down to around 400, which takes a lot of cutting and editing. So it was an amazing process, and the facilitators were amazing to work with us through it.
That's awesome. There's a note in the chat to Mona Lisa. Thank you for being so open and honest. Your willingness to share with all of us the very special relationship you shared with your sister must allow you to continue to celebrate her. So thank you so much for that, Mona Lisa.
Thank you.
There's a question for Samantha. At what point did you connect your wish to be on the front of the Harley with your career choice?
That's a funny question. For me, I'm not sure there was any one moment. There were a lot of little nudges for me along the way. I grew up in Washington, D.C., pretty much as a city girl as well, and really prided myself in being hard, right? So the harder I could be was where I found my value in myself. And through a really long story that I won't get into tonight, I ended up landing in nature-based things. So I ended up rock climbing and kayaking and pushing myself that way. And so it was that honestly really shifted a lot of things for me, because I was able to translate like being hard to in the city, which looks very different, to being hard in nature and outdoor sports.
Well, you found the right place to live then to be able to do all of those activities.
Yeah.
This is a question for the group. Why do we think it's important to share stories?
I think it's just a connection, right? Like every single person that shared their story tonight, there's a little piece. I'm like, oh, I connect with that. I get that. Or, oh, I understand that. And, you know, when we're in this place right now with COVID and being so separated and, you know, some divisive things that have happened in our culture in the past and in our country in the past, I feel like this can bring us back together when we can see the humanity and see the similarity in each other, kind of beyond what we might think.
Yeah, I would sort of tag on to that. When I saw the Dinner and a Movie last time it was presented, I was just absolutely blown away. And not only by the courage of the storytellers for that particular production, because it was incredible, but also the effect that those stories had on me personally. Left a real impact, and it made me take the time to reflect on the fact that every one of us has a story to tell, and by telling those stories and really listening to each other and trying to understand each other, it makes us a stronger community. And I think Sam said this in her story, that it let me know that he saw me, and by telling these stories and listening to each other's stories, you're being seen, you're being heard. So, and it's just the importance of that to building community is incredible. So that's why I thought it was important to participate.
I felt it important to participate in telling my story, or at least being involved in this process, because I think that there are some misinterpretations about some organizations. Just like my title, I said it's more than cows and plows. 4-H kind of gets put into this box of, oh, it's just about these animals. And so it was an opportunity for me to show that it was more than what that box said about my organization. And again, it gave me another opportunity to find other people within the community to learn about and to see their own stories and to see what their organizations were about as well. And so that was very important to me.
The next question I have is, what is important for people to remember when you're listening to other people's stories?
To actually listen to them.
Yes,
listen to what they have to say.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. Listen to hear, don't listen to respond. So that's a big deal.
I would add too, to keep in mind that it's not about trying to change people's minds or change their perspective. It's just to give people a chance to try and understand each other to the extent that you can, and maybe just sort of knowing why someone may act a certain way or do the things that they do. But again, it's not about trying to change people's values, but just trying to get an idea of someone else's perspective. And by doing that, it helps you become more understanding and compassionate.
So all of our stories tonight featured an organization. If anyone wants to come off mute and kind of give a little bit more information, why is that organization so important to the community that we live in?
Well, this is Natalie. I can kind of jump in there relative to the Upper Arkansas Conservation District, also Central Colorado Conservancy. And Central Colorado Conservancy in particular is known more as a sort of traditional land trust. And it's, as Morgan was saying, it's more than that. There's a real part of our strategic plan is to support agricultural lands and all that they bring to Chaffee County. And so being able to tell the story of the challenges ag is facing right now and reach out and talk about how this community has come together already to support agriculture in the community and how there's more opportunity. It's just such a special community to be out there. And when you reach out and say, hey, we have this opportunity to support whatever aspect of the community it is, there's always so many people who are just ready to jump in there and help. I've said so many times, and even more since this project started, how special this community is.
For 4-H, it's a youth building organization that allows all kids an opportunity to participate in whatever they're interested in. So we have everything from artistic clothing to cake decorating to dog training to livestock to robotics. There's something for every kid, and they can be youth leaders within their club, participate statewide. We have conferences and camps that kids can participate in and learn from. And we have really been working on diversity and inclusion in 4-H and making sure that kids, even from a young age, understand what that is and understand how to lead. So really in 4-H, I'm teaching life skills and not as much about just having fun. It's more life skill training, and so that's why I believe that 4-H is very important. And thank you again.
So I can speak to why I believe Garn is so important in the community. I like to say that the 5 staff members who work at Garna wear several hats. We participated in a waste diversion plan. We like to get kids interested in stewardship and conservation and birding and hiking. And I think one of the most resonating things about Garna for me is I grew up in Chicago, which was right next to Lake Michigan. And as an adult, I would work with kids from all ages who've never seen Lake Michigan. So they had this amazing resource and they never got the chance to sort of go visit or enjoy the lake because, their parents were working 9 to 5s. They had school that wasn't safe outside. And one of the reasons that I think Garn is so important is they realize that there are a lot of good outdoor resources available to the public. And if there are either members of the community who are adults or teenagers or even young kids, which is the demographic I work with, Garn really makes sure that these resources are known, because not only does that carry word of mouth advocacy to protect these resources, but these young kids that are participating in Garna programs, they're going to go ahead and champion for the right to use this land and the right to protect it. And that's really what we need. Garna doesn't want resources to be out of sight, out of mind. They really want to put kids in these environments to not only recreate and use them and have fun, but hopefully lead into career paths that lead to taking care of the land.
Ark Valley Humane Society, they have all kinds of programs that they run. Through COVID, they started a pet food pantry to help families keep their pets at home that couldn't afford food for them. They keep pets off the road that are found. They help find them to get them back home. They go out of state to help those societies get rid of their animals. There's a spay and neuter for feral cats that they try to get that population taken care of. And through the pandemic, they had all of their pets put into foster homes so that they wouldn't be at a shelter all by themselves. And they just do such awesome things for fundraising, and it's just a wonderful place. It really is.
I just want to comment on the diversity of the nonprofits that are in this community, and how that diversity that's sort of illustrated by the different stories that were shown tonight really makes our community a better place, and literally leaving by making your community a better place, you're making the world a better place. So I just want to compliment the whole community on the number of organizations that we have where people are so caring about community in its various aspects.
Jenny, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the work that you do with Achieve, so thank you for that. We have a question for Mona Lisa. How can the community further support Ark Valley Recovery's peer support network from your perspective?
Just basically put the word out and just like practice non-judgment. I think love really is a cure-all. Just try to be more understanding and maybe where a person has been. So I don't know, just love.
Yeah, you feel the love in all of your stories, so that is much appreciated. So I think we have time for one more question. Does everyone think that everyone should tell their stories? And if so, what would be your recommendation for someone looking to get involved and tell their tale?
100% yes. I think that everyone needs to tell their story. Everybody has something that makes them who they are, and we should celebrate that. So get involved somewhere, if it's with We Are Chaffee or one of our organizations, come tell your story. I want to hear it, and I'm sure that everyone on this call wants to hear it as well. But yes, please tell your story.
I would absolutely agree with Morgan. Absolutely, everybody should share their story. In going through this with the Story Center, one of the questions that they lifted up that helped me to kind of dig was, what were those transformational moments in your life that have led you to where you are now? And I had to think very deeply about that. So as a place to start, that might be a question to contemplate.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think everyone should tell their story. Even if a certain aspect of your life doesn't mean the world to you, there's somebody whose life it'll change. Like the most insignificant detail of something that you do day to day could mean the world to someone. And I'm going to specifically speak to working with kids. They appreciate a certain level of transparency. Kids and teenagers go through a lot. And if they know that there's somebody who also followed unconventional paths to get where they are, and that's an option for them, like it changes their entire world perspective. So.
Well, thank you all so much for your stories. We appreciate your candid and honest responses to the questions. You are all truly amazing. And like I said, I shed a few tears through all of that. So thank you. Those of you in our audience that are interested in learning more about storytelling or wish to share your story in the future, please visit our website and hit the Get Involved page to submit your information or ask any questions that you might have of We Are Chaffee. And to stay up to date on We Are Chaffee events, so our storytelling workshops, hit the subscribe button at the bottom of every webpage. You will receive future emails and updates from We Are Chaffee. Before ending our program tonight with one last video, I will launch the final poll on your screen. After you've completed the poll, we would like to share with you the We Are Chaffee video montage. So we'll give a second for our poll to come up. Perfect. After you've completed the poll, like I said, we'd like to share our We Are Chaffee video montage. Due to the remote situation of most of us tonight, there might be a slight delay in your video streaming like there was last time, so we do apologize for that in advance. But if you would like to view the video or any of these videos online, you can later at wearechaffee.org. I want to, on behalf of all of the Chaffee County residents and the audience participating this evening, extend a sincere thank you again to each of you. Samantha, Natalie, Mona Lisa, Morgan, Bianca, Colton, Debbie, and Jenny for sharing your stories tonight. Like I said, these stories will be posted on the wearechaffee.org website, and they'll also be posted on housinghealthinchaffee.org, so you can check them out there. And then to say goodnight, I'd like to send you all off with our final hurrah, the We Are Chaffee video montage. Thank you again to our storytellers, all our participants. Thank you so much for joining us. And if all my storytellers would go off camera so that the video will play full screen for everyone, be much appreciated. Thank you all again so much.
We are Chaffee!
Why is Chaffee special?
People here take care of each other.
I love Chaffee!
We have beautiful mountains and rivers and a happy and healthy lifestyle. Thank you, Chaffee County.
They say follow your hearts to this magical place. You can also follow your dreams.
Chaffee's fun!
We are so fortunate to live in this magical area we call Chaffee County. Remember to get outside and enjoy yourself. Stay happy and stay healthy.
Chaffee is so special, active people and an engaged community.
We have a collaborative spirit and ethic that runs through our municipalities, our county government, our school districts. We all work together to solve our problems.
Our business community is strong.
And we feel super supported.
Chaffee County has been extremely welcoming since I arrived.
I love Chaffee because of the beautiful mountains and the wonderful sports.
We love our place!
Chaffee is nature.
We welcome and encourage outrageous behavior.
Chaffee is family.
I'm lucky to live in Chaffee County because of all the activities I can do around here.
We're native, and we love it here.
My ancestors, the Hutchinson family, arrived here about 151 years ago to go gold mining. We started ranching and we've been at it ever since. It's a beautiful place to have cows. It's a beautiful place for us to live, and we hope to make it another 150 years.
Chaffee County is such a great community because it's inclusive, artistic, and something that I love about it is the Lida Circus.
Chaffee County has a heart the size of the Rocky Mountains. After all, we are in the heart of the Rockies. Chaffee County gets my goat.
I lived in Los Angeles area for 40 years, so you can see why I'm here.
Chaffee County raised me, and now I love giving back.
I came to Chaffee County for the geography. I stay for the community.
The Buena Vista Police Department is honored to serve the citizens of Chaffee County.
We have a true sense of community, and we support one another no matter what, despite our differences.
Here in Chaffee County, we're a clever bunch, not only in our music and arts, but also in the ways that we love, support, and uplift one another, even in times of strife. It's a pretty special place to be.
Chaffee County has been nothing less than kind and wonderful.
Chaffee is arts.
Chaffee has heart.
Chaffee is community.
We are Chaffee.